It's your boy Young Love, I give him that time. Pancho leg stand, Panchi America, Panji Banaban, Pancho leg stand, Panchi America, Panji Banaban, walk on the lake, Kankara, what on the watching, Oga, level leg, gear, power, leg, Panda with Yay, Panchi America, Panya, Dwalabano, Chingatonga, Pandon, could you ever buy a check out, Papu Panda, Jiro, what they be, Dwalaventing. Stand Panchi America, Panji Banaban, Pancha leg stand Panchi America, Panji Banaban, walk on the lake, Kankara, what on the watching, Oga, level leg, gear, power, leg, Panda with Yay, Panchi America, Panya, Dwalabano, Chingatonga, Pandon, could you ever buy a check out, Papu Panda, Jiro, what they be, Dwalaventing.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are tuning in. Welcome to Lagos State Media today, 18th of June, 2022. We are live here in Lagos State Media with our guest, Mr. Sunday Manyang Agtok, and my co-host, Bolmakura Chen, co-host, Majung Makur Malak. We will take you to the discussion of the day. Before that, I would like to give floor to my colleagues to greet you. Bol, floor is yours.
Thank you.
The volume, audio, we can't hear. Unmute. Unmute yourself.
Mute. It looks like mute is volume.
Sorry, I apologize. I apologize for that inconvenience. I welcome our audience today, and also I welcome our guest, Sunday Manyang, to come and highlight the public. And also, I welcome our host, both Isaac Young Paul and Jung Makur. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Majung Makur, floor is yours. Greet the audience and let our guest introduce himself.
Thank you so much, Isaac. To all Lagos State Media viewers and the general public, welcome to Lagos State Media on 18th of June 2022. In the studio with us, as you heard it before, is our guest, Mr. Sunday Manyang Agtok, the former Executive Director in the Office of Minister of Presidential Affairs, Republic of South Sudan. And Mr. Sunday is here today as our guest to talk to us and to the public about the affairs of our nation. As someone who has been at the heart of the government, he has a lot to tell us, and he has a lot to deliver to the people of South Sudan. And to our guest, Mr. Sunday, we Lagos State Media, we believe in bringing reliable information to our viewers and to equip them with the information in our country. Mr. Guest, Sunday, you are highly welcome to Lagos State Media, and we are honored that you are here with us. The floor is yours. You can open your mic and give us your opening remark before we move to our questions section. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Isaac Tiangpol and your team, for hosting me in this Lagos State Media group. I actually thank those who joined this media for this discussion regarding the what is happening in our country. I may not know much, but I can contribute on what I know is happening. Others may compliment me, maybe in this show or in another show. So for those who don't know me, my name is Manyang, Agtok. I'm from Lagos State in Rumbek. Taban campaign like this, people have to know further what do you do and where were you. Taban, I was working with the Minister of Presidential Affairs, Honorable Dr. Barh Benjamin, as Executive Director in his office. And then, in one way or another, my contract was terminated. So now I'm back to school, I'm studying, but I decided to diversify the course that I did. I'm studying law at the University of Juba, because instead of sitting idle, I decided to go back to school to study law. Initially, I did Bachelor of Statistics in Makerere University, and I worked with the National Bureau of Statistics. Those are the ones who sent me to Tanzania to do my diploma, and they also sent me to Makerere University through UNFPA scholarship that was offered to me and some of my other colleagues, like Manyang Malak, like Makara UL is currently an ambassador in UK, Kalaman Yufe, and some other gentlemen that were sent to me through UNFPA scholarship on the recommendation of the government of Southern Sudan by then. So I graduated in 2011, specialized in development planning.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Sunday Manyang, for that well and elaborated introduction. And we also appreciate you for taking that decision to go back to school, because whenever you have a break from the office, you have to make a right choice, like what you have just did to go back to school. Thank you for that. Mr. Sunday, as you know very well that we South Sudanese in diaspora, and even most of our youth within the country don't have access to information. And being the former executive director in the office of Minister of Presidential Affairs, Dr. Barh Benjamin, can you kindly narrate to us what were your duties and your obligations in the office? Alongside that, you will also tell us the setup of the entire office of Minister of Presidential Affairs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think the Minister of Presidential Affairs setup is still not yet completed. It was born out of a revitalized peace agreement that was signed in 2018 and then got implemented in 2020. So when Dr. Benjamin was appointed as the Minister of Presidential Affairs, he requested me to go and work with him as his office manager. So I took that opportunity, went with them and worked. Some of my duties were just like the office management, make appointment, organized his office, set it up for all those who are coming for a meeting, either those who would want to meet with the minister, the president, we facilitated them. Those who are meeting with the minister, of course, that is my key function that I do. And of course, we have some of our staff that were working with us, interim staff, the confidential clerk, and the private secretary. Most of them help me in the documentation that we do in the office. So basically, this is what I can say. But it's supposed to be restructured so that it becomes a full ministry with all the staff that fall under it. Initially, it used to be office of the minister in the office of the president, but this has been changed by a revitalized peace agreement into Minister of Presidential Affairs. So it's supposed to receive the structure that has not yet been done. The former minister, Honorable Nyalding, tried to drop some structures for it, but they were not complete. Honorable Dr. Benjamin came in, and I believe by now we might be having a draft on the structures so that people can be officially and reliably informed about what the structures are and what it does so I can go into detail about the interim activities that this office is doing, given that I'm no longer there.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sunday, for that answer you have just given. Second question, we have seen most of the information that's come out from the presidency in general. And if I said presidency is exclusions of other 5 vice president, but I'm talking about the head, that's J1. Several years, or for the last 4 to 3 years, sometimes there are decisions made in the presidency, like today and then tomorrow they will be revoked. So this kind of like degrees, the good example is the last recent examples of the recent degree of administrative area of Ruang, and then the deputy governor. They were appointed like 1 week before they were inaugurated, and then the degree were revoked and appointed different people. And this act or kind of activity always give a lot of vacuum in the mind of citizen. They always question themselves, what is happening within the presidency? Is it because there is somebody who can sign the name of his colleague in the office of president and give them to the media to announce them on behalf of the president? Or what is the issue? Kindly, at your capacity as a former executive director, can you educate and enlighten citizens on what transpired there? You might be having information. Thank you.
I think that is quite a political question that I may not have a very reliable information about it. The right person that can answer this could be Atanyuega Atany, who is the press secretary of the president. I saw this kind of appointment were made and then they were retracted. Maybe they are political in nature, or maybe they are administrative in the way they are handled in the office of the president. So I may not give any accurate information about this, and so I might reserve on these particular things.
Thank you. Thank you for that. We understand. And the third question is about how the presidency always keep their secret. The entire citizens of the country has really realized that there is no secret in the office of president. And many citizens always accuse office managers, executive directors, you being one of them formally. Can you tell us, were you at certain point a victim of leaking information outside, or what normally happened?
I think at our time when I was there, there were no secrets that were leaked to the media, both the appointment or the file, except only one document that was leaked. I tried to investigate as an office manager how the file goes into the media, and we fix it. Of the document. So when I saw that most of the document might not be secure, so what I did, I put up a system. I bought a safe, very big one, where all the secret documents of the government are put, and we minimize the handling of the official documents. So strictly, they were handled by only one person. And during my time, from when we started in April up to October, there were no documents that were leaked to the social media, because most of the secret documents that could be sensitive, we put them in a secure safe. And some of the other ordinary documents, of course, we put them in the cupboard, and I bought keys, and we make sure that they are locked in, and only one person keep the keys of the cupboard. So during Dr. Benjamin time, I don't think whether in the office of the Minister of Presidential Affairs a document had gone to any social media or leaked to any other area. This, I think, previously there were some documents that we saw, but this has to do with the recruitment process. People, I believe if we have people, if people are recruited, if right people are recruited with integrity, and shoulder the responsibility of the file that they are managing, I think probably such kind of thing would have not been done. You know, there are a lot of sabotage going around here in South Sudan. You would see that people, even people who are working with the government, they can just share confidential information. That is bad. It's punishable, you know. And if you are a POMA as well, you might not be actually necessary to share some of the sensitive government information unnecessarily. So it's punishable by law. So it's a great concern. I'm concerned, you are concerned, others are as well concerned. And this is something that we must fix. You know, the official government files should not be leaked to the social media. And we shouldn't do anything with it on personal gain. I have seen some people at some point, once they know that I'm being appointed, they would just call me and told me, I'm working for you to be appointed. So you get surprised, a young person working for a great politician to be appointed, you get surprised. But this is a person who has a clue that you are getting appointed. So in few days or so, you get appointed. Maybe you believe that this person is your man. And once you come into the office, of course, you prioritize him in terms of assessing you. And if you have some resources, you share with that person because you might believe it's part of you. So this kind of things, this is dishonesty in work. They should be discouraged. Our intelligence should be strengthened so that people who engage in such activities should be adequately punished so that others would fear not to do them. I think this is what I can say. But all in all, in that office is a well-respected office. There are a lot of secrets that are kept there Very nice. So your security in terms of files and everything is guaranteed in that office. I can tell you, whether in the office of the president or office of the minister, the few things are done by those who want a quick reach kind of things, or those who don't have proper kind of training. These are the ones that might, in one way or another, leak some degree.
Wow. Thank you, Mr. Sunday. You brought in a very vital point, things to do with the recruitment system. And all of us, we are aware, Mr. Sunday, government is always a government because of secret. And government informations that are not controlled properly can be used by the enemies of the nation against the government.
That's correct.
And we believe you people who have managed to be part of the system, and still we can consider you are the part of the system. You can try your best by all means to make sure you advise as much as possible. You have mentioned the recruitment, and we believe, we outsiders, that the J1 is being controlled by two kind of people. The political brokers, which you mentioned, these people just go and beep the file and see the name of someone that might be appointed within the next 1 week. And then they will go outside and call and say that I've worked thoroughly until your name is now on the paper. So kindly, can we meet later on in Pyramid Hotel? So basically, these brokers should be avoided, not to be close to such offices. And these are the very people who always leak the documents according to our perceptions as citizens. The second group are dealers. Dealers are those who want to get something, as you put it before, through shortcuts, so that they can get whatever they want, considering the economic crisis and the hardship the nation is in. But hopefully, with the time, things will reduce. Considering now, during your term, I personally can attest to that there were no much information leaked outside, especially on Facebook. The last questions, or the fourth question on my part, is about the scandals. You know very well, many citizens always accuse Presidency as a leading individuals in regard to the scandals that happen in the country, and especially in J1. And on the 5th of last month, May, the Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, Honorable Agtok, came out publicly and informed the citizen that the oil has been pre-sold up to 2027. So we cannot afford to have money so that we can pay you unless we pre-sold also 2028 in order to pay the civil servants. As someone who has been in the system for quite long, can you tell us more? Is it logic that the economy is in a current state simply because of Presidency, or there is other loopholes that need to be blocked for the nation to move on? Thank you.
I think you are looking at the cause of the scandal, either in the office of the president or in the government. Some of when I observe the way things are moving, I don't think we are badly off in terms of this kind of a scandal compared to some other countries that I have lived in and also read about the way things are done. South Sudan is very good. There's a hope. Most of the scandals that are happening, some of the things are done by maybe 2 to 3 people, in some big offices, or even one person doing this kind of activity. Because of course there's no an office that could be perfect all the time. Even the office of the president, there might be some people that would want to benefit from a scandal, either due to lack of job security that they have, or maybe is scrambling over the resources, or maybe trying to win the confidence of either of the president or others trying to win the confidence of the people. So sometimes people would engage in such kind of activities. But with regard to one of the statement made by the Minister of Finance, I think he was trying to share what he believes is important for the. It was as a
Network issue of Juba.
Yeah. Sorry, our viewers, we might come back quick shortly. We always have such challenges when we are having guests from Juba due to the network connectivity. You all remember MTN is also not giving South Sudanese proper services. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. The one, the minister maybe he knows why he's sharing this kind of information with the public, because he's the minister of finance. Maybe he has the pressure of trying to pay the salary, which I have seen he is able now to pay 5 months salary in less than 2 weeks. So he could be the right person to know why he was sharing that information with the public, either for public accountability or maybe for him to inform the people about the challenges that the country is facing. You know, this country has a lot of issues, and what I have seen, they are only put on one person to handle them, the president of this country. So you would see that he has a lot of pressure here. People who want his position, people who want services, demanded services for him to deliver, people who want job, and so many other things. So, here there are people who want his position, and there are people who want others, people who are working with him. Yeah, and I can say, yeah, and the only office everyone is fighting to work in is the office of the president, and maybe office of the Ministry of Finance, or maybe Nile Fed, another lucrative kind of job, because of the bad economic situation that is heading our country. When you look at some of the other sectors, they have been paralyzed, you know, because most of these institutions are not following the plan. They are not following the plan. I think one cannot precisely tell what could be the main cause of the scandals going around. But some are for public knowledge. Maybe the minister was doing it. I cannot call it a scandal. Maybe he's trying to promote transparency so that people know what is happening about our oil. We were happy when he met with the president, he made the press, and then he said our oil is safe. So we shouldn't be worried about his statement, because he already said that the oil is on the ground. And for that matter, we can discuss it under any scandal.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Sunday. But you were saying about the causes of scandals, and you admitted that maybe some few individuals within the government, and we all understand no any group of 10 people can be 100% perfect. There must be those elements that always prioritize their interests What do you think could be the cause that prompted these people to engage in such unethical behaviors? And remember, in our cultures as Africans, stealing is a taboo, and it is always regarded as an abomination. As Africans, and specifically as pastoralists, especially Dinka, Nuer, Murley, and Mundari. These people, they have their own principles and ethics. What do you think could be the causes of corruptions and rampant misbehaving in the offices or mismanagement of the offices? Thank you.
I think when you have corruption happening, it means there's no one fighting it. When you have young people who are brought up by their parents not to steal, and you see that they are stealing, it means the economic conditions in the country is not good. It's not good. So if you want us to have no corruption, let us fight corruption. And if you want our young people not to steal or to leak documents in return of some benefits, let us improve the economy. Let's get job for most of the youth. The few ones that are working, they hustle. As they hustle, they are working, but they are hustling because life is hard. Most of the money that they get, does not have a value in the market. Whatever the salary they get, although it delay, it does not have a value. So some people try to hustle here and there, get the money. Here in South Sudan, there is a huge dependency of people. If you go to one house, you find that there are 15 to 20 people in one house, depending on only one person in that house working. So if you want people not to steal, then get them resources, improve the markets, improve the employment system, the way people are recruited, so that those who are graduates and have no job find jobs. And those who are willing, even if they are not educated, are able to find a job of their equivalents. So the two things that you have highlighted, bad behavior of our youth, has more to do with the lack of economic resources. You would agree with me, someone who have cows would not go and raid cows. But if you have, you would not. And at the same time, if you have money, you will not engage in bank robbery because you already have your money. So some of the people who are seen as robbers or raiders or these are people who don't have, and in most situations they are very dangerous. Not only do they take properties, they can even take life of people. So everything is centered around on the economy, the state of economy of our country. How is the state of the economy performing? And if we don't fix it, then we will not even fix the governance. Because everything lies with the economy, it's the backbone of everything. So the cause of all these are socio-economic conditions of our people. If we fix them, we fix all of this. We fix the corruption. We will fix this kind of trading official government documents with the money.
Thank you, Mr. Sunday, for that well-articulated response to the questions. It's good sometimes to admit and to seek for solution. And you have mentioned two things that can reduce corruption in our country. Number one, you said people need to fight it. If you see people stealing or engaging in corruption, and these people were brought up in a society where stealing is regarded as taboo and an abomination, which means there is nobody fighting corruption. The second thing is that people need to be empowered and the economy need to be stabilized. Let me ask you, Mr. Sunday, how do you fight corruption, considering the challenges, political crisis that gave birth to the economic crisis, which gave birth to the looting, which gave birth to the hatred among the citizens? and also irrigated the tree of tribalism. How do you fight corruption, according to you, as a statistician and also as a lawyer?
I think what the society does when they begin to form a government is that they identify things that could be good and those that might not be good. And they organize themselves and say, look, let us be doing good in our society and avoid A, B, C, D, because if we do them, they will cause us harm or even death, or even erode our moral standards. So, if you want to fight corruption in any society or in the government, you have first of all to identify what is corruption first, so that people know what is it, where does it start, and how can it be ended. So corruption is a very dangerous kind of thing. It is good to fight it when another person is corrupt, but it is bad when you are being fought, especially in our current society where we are. So corruption is fought through organization. People have to organize first and say, look, how do we get into the government? So you have to strengthen the recruitment process on the entry into the public service in the Republic of South Sudan. Once the criteria for this are violated, let us agree how could these people who recruited these people be punished or be appreciated. When I was working for the World Bank project, we have recruitment process, that are corruption free. The way you recruit people will determine whether these people will be corrupt or not. So if you recruit them in a very transparent way and you train them on the process of honesty, the way things are done, and you supervise them effectively, then you can minimize or even eliminate corruption.
Sorry, our viewers, we have a challenge with the internet in Juba. Our guest is frozen, but might come back shortly. Isaac. All right. To our viewers, you can share this interview. Remember, we are talking about corruption, and many citizens need to hear about this. You keep sharing it on your timeline so that your friends will get to know the information. Go on, Mr. Sunday.
Strengthen the recruitment process. How do people get into public service? People have to be recruited on the basis of merit. You can't just go and become a public government official through the back doors. So this is the first entry into the system that must be strengthened well. Secondly, once you are there, you have to be given an induction. You have to know what is it that you do and what are the expectations of the institution from you, and then you share your expectation with the government. This kind of social contract that late Dr. John Grang was talking about. People have to be educated on what is it that the government wants you to do, and also you would have to ask the government what is it that it should do to you. So the term and conditions of relation between the government and the employees must first of all be very clear, so that the government doesn't over-expect and you don't over-expect from the government. that could be one way of trying to get ourselves organized in terms of expectation. And then the second aspect of this, once you are oriented and you are recruited through merits, the mechanism of supervision must be strengthened. You have to be effectively supervised. The supervisors must be very serious. You don't leave people and you give them a blind trust that they will do a credible job. No, it is not. Once you relax, they relax from what they are doing. And if there are resources there, they will take. So if you want to fight, if you want to avoid people not to be redundant in their job, supervise them. Where they are wrong, you tell them. Where they are okay, you appreciate. And if you see there are certain things that can be forgiven, and there are certain things that when you are working, contractual things that cannot be forgiven, you know. So those ones that can be investigated administratively can be handled through administrative authorities, you know. And for us, we have the channel that are followed when you want to discipline one of the public government official who is a civil servant. So you start with the warning, both verbal, written, and maybe you form a committee, you investigate these kind of people. If they are wrong, you prosecute them. And if it is something that can be forgiven, you through maybe they didn't know that this was wrong, you just give them the warning, and they carry on with their work. And at the same time, the Anti-Corruption Commission must always oversee institution. In our situation, I don't know whether they are doing it or not, but I cannot comment about that. But I can generally say the role of an anti-corruption is to oversee the institution, even the institutions that are performing well. You can't just relax and you say this institution I believe is okay. Oh, you supervise. If it is okay, get the performance of the people. When I was at the World Bank working with them, we always have an annual performance. It is done for me, and I also do it for the staff that I supervise. We will have to look at what is it that you have done well, and what is it that you have not done well. And in the appraisals, we ask you on things that you have not done well, how are you going to do them? Once you win our confidence, we renew your contract. Once the answers are not satisfactory, we end your contract. So this is the social contract that must be strengthened, supervised by the government officials that are senior, and then also the Anti-Corruption Commission. But what I have seen in some of the situations, some people are employed, but there is no effective supervision. So we must strengthen the supervision in order to fight corruption. So that if you underperform, that is also corruption, you know. You are occupying an office where people are expecting you to deliver services. If you perform well, people become happy. You become a public commodity. They appreciate you in terms of extending your contract, and maybe, of course, paying your salary and other benefits that you get, both privilege and rights. So this is what I think. And those who those who are fighting corruption, you know, they have to be supported. People have to support them. I have seen our president was fighting corruption, but when it comes into defend, no one was defending him. People left him alone, and most of the corrupt people become more powerful, and they were destabilizing him. So if you see me fighting a corrupt person, join me. But now in some situation, a corrupt person is more powerful than a clean man. So and of course it could be one of the root causes why some states are not stable. So this is the little contribution I can tell you. Those who have violated the article of law, there is no compromise there. You take them to the court. The Anti-Corruption should oversee this process with the Minister of Justice. That someone violated law, take to the court, and the court does it proceeding. Give this person rights of a defense. Allow him to have a defense lawyer, and then the prosecuting lawyer will come and prosecutes. You allow now our judiciary to exercise it, judicial mandates and responsibilities. Once you are guilty, you get arrested without compromise. And once you are not guilty, you get acquitted. And remember, most of the things mess up if the process of the law are not well followed. Sometimes you would see as one of the causes why corruption is not being fought well, the procedures are not followed. And of course, the family members of that person being convicted of corruption would not be happy with it. So, because some people are conscious about the legal process that are followed to prosecute a corrupt person. You know, I can be corrupt, but if the procedures are not followed well, that case can be thrown out. So, people, there should be this kind of social education. What are the legal procedures followed to prosecute people? What laws are there on corruption? Is it only on recruitment? How about the financial management? How about even selling the government documents to some individual? For these are all criminalized by our constitution. If you look at our Criminal Procedure Act, you know, it doesn't allow a government official to circulate any information that is not authorized. Once you do it and you are a government official, you could be charged of sedition if it is something that can destabilize the government or can cause a chaos among the people. So basically, on corruption, people have to own the process. The government has to take a responsibility over this and say, look, I'm mandated by the people to fight this evil. And the government becomes serious, not selective, you know. You pass it on with all your institutions, gather all the intelligence and wisdom, and then you prosecute by following the procedures of law. So, and the anti-corruption must always be vigilant, supervise all the institutions. They should also, by the way, I could recommend anti-corruption must always have performance appraisals. They should be having them in their file, you know, so that they review Sunday, who is working in the office of the Minister of Presidential Affairs. What is his performance? What is he telling the government to be doing, and whether he's meeting this or not? Because in the performance assessment, you have to tell people what is it that you plan to do, what is it that you have achieved, and what are the challenges that you face, and how do you intend to overcome them. So people have to be convinced that this thing you are doing them for the sake for the public.
Wow. Thank you, Mr. Sunday. You have mentioned a very vital point, and you use the right word that the government also should not be selective when it's fighting corruption. You have mentioned the recruitment system as one of the things that always allowed monsters or those with their alien behaviors to ascend into the offices and use public office for their own private gain. But considering our human resource system now in the country, it's not that effective. People are not employed based on merit. People are employed based on whom you know and who is related to your cousin or your uncle. Basically, that is what the country is now operating on that angle. You have mentioned South Sudan Anticorruption Commission. And South Sudan Anti-Corruption Commission, when I was in Juba, I was a very good fan of them. I used to go to the office every month. Sometimes I just go and find all a gate man at the gate and nobody is in the office. So when you look at the presidency, and there was a statement released by the president Salva Kiir, I guess around 2011. He said that corruption is a big thing. Is a big monster that can eat the entire house. And if we cannot fight corruption as South Sudanese, then the South Sudan as the country will remain in the hatches of war for next 20 to 35 years. So basically, it tells you the Anti-Corruption Commission, when we gained independence, the president was so much into the issues of corruption. President was trying his level best to make sure he eliminates corruption. And unfortunately, I don't know, and people citizens don't know what happened in the middle there before 2013 crisis. And presidency formed committees. Now, Mr. Sunday, how do you blame Anti-Corruption Commission here? They have not been empowered. They have no even recognition in the government structure. The president, when they allege someone is corrupt, the president they have to sit down and degree the committee constituted to investigate the alleged person. A good example is the example of the former Minister of Petroleum, Ezekiel Lul. Instead of him being subjected to South Sudan Anti-Corruption Commission to follow up with him, then the president formed a committee to investigate him. Nobody knows now. We had only the degree that the committee was formed, but the activities that were done after that degree, no anybody, even you people who are in the office of president, I don't think whether you have any information what the committee is doing and where the committee disappeared. How surely do you put this line here? South Sudan Anti-Corruption Commission, the presidency, the judiciary. How are they operating and how is their relationship? Thank you.
Taban, what I can say, I cannot put any blame on lack of prosecuting corrupt people in South Sudan entirely on anti-corruption failure to do that. No, I don't know their conditions. I cannot say the president is not fighting corruption in this country. No, that's not true. You know, in 2008, this is the same president that I saw in the news when I was a student, declaring zero tolerance to corruption. And he appointed the best lawyers as head of anti-corruption. What made this people to fail, I don't know. And I cannot speculate on them. Like what I know about our president is a very good person. He has the country at heart. He has very good program. He has a very good vision for this country. But the problem with the staffing, the people that they recruit and work with them are the ones that fail him. Most of them, you know, most of the people that he had been working with, and he had been even telling the public, they are not good. Most of the people that he had worked. Of recent now, the one that are working with him, some of them are okay. I can see there are some deliverables. You know, the economy of South Sudan should have collapsed. The government should have collapsed. But because of them, it has not. It kept moving. Our president has very good program. Remember in 2008, declare go to school program. That was a nice one, you know. Encourage all those who were in the war to enroll in the school. If by that 2008, someone enrolled in primary one, by now it would have completed secondary school. And if someone has enrolled in secondary school, by that time he would have completed his university up to a PhD level. So most of the things that our president say, none of the people around him could put them into an action plan. You know, when the president say, "I don't need corruption," you fight it. When he says he need people to go to school, then open up schools. You know, and as a minister of education, and recruit teachers. You know, including even making a compulsory services for people whom you think could be teachers in those schools, and once they respected that compulsory kind of assignment, you give them free scholarship. You know, these are now things that we should have been doing. And if the minister, if the president is saying no corruption, then as an institution, you know, you quote his article, you write your report, and you present it to the Council of Ministers, and then you follow the right procedures. I don't think what our current president can tell you not to prosecute corrupt people. So I don't know what happened to the former Minister of Petroleum case, whether it's the committee that sat on it, or there are some other government priorities that has blocked the president, not to ask them where is the report, or the report is submitted, but it, you know, is being staged. You know, sometimes even in legal prosecution, you can stay prosecution. That does not necessarily mean, you know, you don't want to fight this. No, there is a case you can close. Not that you don't want to do it, but because there are some other urgent government priorities. So if you see maybe some corrupt kind of cases here and there not being handled, I don't think whether there is a deliberate need for people to sit on them. You might be surprised to see them being recalled and taken to the court and the court deliberate on them. So plans are there. Our president has expressed his intention. The other time he said, I need the development plan to be done. It was done. Very nice one for our country. He also ordered for fighting the corruption. If people are not doing it, then he has expressed his intention. And he also asked people to go to school. And if people are not going to, I was one of the people who went to school and benefited from his presidential grant that he was offering to students. So it inspired me as well to go to school. If there are those who are not yet inspired to go to school from the recommendation of the president, I think basically those will go as well. I was saying our president is left alone, and everyone expects him to be a minister of education, minister of finance, minister of road and bridges, and also they also expect him. You know, he ordered the Barh Ghazal road to be constructed. It is not him to go again and do that. He has already talked about it. People should now do it. It should be the citizen and the minister concerned and the institution concerned to work on it. You know, if there are economic challenges or any other obstacles, people have to have dialogue, you know, so that most of the other things should be clear. And this is the president who tried a lot of things, initiating projects and also engaging our international allies like American. You know, they build our roads, the Numri Road. The Japanese recently built our bridges, and it succeeded. He also invited some investors. You know, you saw Radisson Blue, one of the 5-star hotels was built, and it was our president who appealed for this. So there are people at the international level who call for cooperation in development. They respond, and there are those who will yet to respond. And at the same time, at the ministries, there are those he has directed to do certain kind of work within their ministries, and they are doing. And there are those that are not meeting his expectations, and therefore, at some point, he released his presidential decree and relieved them because they are not meeting his expectation. You know, he's not the kind of a guy who like to remove people unnecessarily in the offices. He can do so if he thinks that you are not doing your work, and later on, if he believes some of the things he thought were not work, were wrong, he would still come and recall you and you work with him. So I can, Taban, in one of the incidents, I told some people who were not happy with my removal, why I was removed. But I told them, you know, that office and our president there is like a public bus, you know. In a public bus, if it is full, if he sees someone who is weeping, enter into it, he would just proceed and pretend as if he doesn't. But later on, if he drop this kind of people, you know, and return and find you at the same point, you know, it will pick you up and you go. So maybe the reason why I'm not in that office, the bus is full. And when it returns and it is empty, I may go back and work there, the same to any other person, you know. So let us enjoy the ride, you know. If you are in, you enjoy it. When you are out, you just wait for your turn and it will happen. So basically, this is what I can generally say. The president,
Thank you.
Grief has a will. He has a will to deliver well in his job, and he has a clean heart. That's why he had been forgiving people who have done a lot of great bad things, including those who attempted his life, but he forgave and worked with them. He dined with them, he smiled with them, and he allowed them to move in the country freely.
Thank you so much, Sunday. That was a good analogy to use. That the public office is like a public transport. So you jump in, you reach your destination, and then you alight and let other person jump in. And later on, when the bus is full, you have to wait for the next bus to arrive to take you to your destination.
Exactly.
Yeah, you mentioned the president is so much vocal and at the front line fighting against corruption in the country, but people around him and those who are holding other gubernatorial positions like government prestatos are letting him down. Are you telling us that the entire government is not supporting president in fight against corruption? That's what you are saying?
No, not necessarily entire government. There are those one that are supporting him, and that's why he's in the political power now. And there are those ones that are not helpful at all in terms of fighting corruption. You know some. So we
Thank
cannot
you.
say
Another
no
person
one is.
asked before. That's true. You are right. Some are letting him down, and some are supporting him. Thank you.
Correct.
Someone asked, South Sudan Eagle Media, he asked before that, can you ask our guest that is
Yes, I
there
can.
corruption in the presidency? I guess you read that questions on the screen. So kindly,
No, I
can you
did.
answer it before I yield it back to Bolmako?
You know, the office of the president is not defined where corruption cannot take place. It would be wrong to say there is no corruption in the office of the president. All over the world, even in the White House, there are corruption. There are corrupt people, and they are at some point prosecuted. Remember, previously there were some people that were suspected to be corrupt. They were taken to court and they were working the president, and so no one can say there is no corruption in the president. But if you can compare it with other institutions, it is the least corrupt. Least corrupt. I was
Thank you.
there. The work was very nice. Was working well, and there was the teamwork. People were supporting, and I didn't see any of them corrupt. Maybe we can have one or two out of 100
That's
or
true.
down there that are there. So corruption is even in the heaven. It is there. That's why the Satan was practicing corruption there.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Sunday, for acknowledging and accepting the fact that there is corruption everywhere. But what matters here is the label of corruption. And you said you were working and you did not see anyone. Maybe because you are inside. Now outside, you will see clearly, and you will be in a position to identify who is who. Yeah, thank you. Let's move to the last question on my part, and then I will yield it back to Deputy Chair Bolmakur. We have seen the economy of our country the way it is. The hyperinflation has really hit the country badly, and fuel prices is increasing day by day. Nothing is easy in the country. What can you say in that regard of the economy? Because if the economy is not stable, then of course stealing, that is corruptions and political crisis, will never stop because these things work hand in hand. If the country is stable, then the economy grow. And if the economy is not growing, then the country must be in problem too. Because when people are hungry, they will not respond too quickly and they will not even work and they will not even deliver the results. Thank you.
Yeah. Just a minute.
All right.
Kada toja rasi da ko jaga yegi baden toja rasi da time MTN along jamlo. Yeah. Okay. That's a very good question, and I was looking when we initially talked. I was looking toward this question. You know the living condition of the people of South Sudan is extremely very bad. Our currency doesn't have a value in the market, and it keeps in losing its value significantly against US dollar, and the purchasing power of our people has been badly for the last 10 years affected adversely. You know, I'm a statistician by profession. One time I did the calculations and I realized that, you know, the living condition of our citizen, the way it has worsened, I don't think whether the German and the Zimbabwean in condition was the same like what we have. Our people are really very resilient. You know, do you know that our the purchasing power of our pounds has reduced by 29,900% in 2010? When you go to a local restaurant, you would be able to buy food at £5, you know. And now you go to the market, you find food at 1,500. So if you can calculate for the last 10 years,
1,500 per plate, and that is an average restaurant.
In a local restaurant. I'm not talking about Edison or Pyramid or some other agency or so. No, I'm talking
Palm
about
Africa.
where ordinary citizens eat. It is 1,500 for a plate. So if you minus £5 and then you divide by 5 times 100, you will get an inflation rate, a loss of a value of 29,900%. It has never happened even where you are or in some other countries of recent. Maybe they happened some years back, but our people are resilient. You know, they tolerated this kind of change in value of our currency. So you see now our money has lost its value of money to being a currency. You see, by 29,900%. What brought us to this kind of situations where the fuel prices are very high and where the commodity prices are very high? It could be partly blamed to the economic system we are in with the entire world, or it could be because of our inaction to deliver on what we promised our people who would be doing. I'm saying this because when you look at our plans, they are very nice. We have South Sudan Development Plan that was done from 2011. It expired in 2013. It got renewed. But if you look at it, it is the best in the region. It has all the indicators of governance, you know, economic governance and sovereign governance, legal issues, gender-based and energy sectors, transport, all of them are there, you know. But they have never been implemented. And if they were to be implemented, I'm pretty sure our economy would grow faster than any other economy in the world. When we were confident of our program and plans, remember in some years, World Bank made an assessment and said, South Sudan is the fastest growing economy in the world. And by that time, I was a student at the university, and I saw that Even our GDP in South Sudan was higher than the one of Uganda and Kenya combined. You know, that is a gross domestic product. Yeah, that is used to measure the living conditions of the one of the measures for the living conditions of the people in the country. So what brought us to this is, first of all, we are not confident of our plan. We are not implementing them. This takes us to the series as well. There are things that even if we implement them as well, theory would dictate that we might fail at some point. And if we are conscious of this, probably we would have to fix them. When we look at macroeconomic policies, this is now the policy that guide the government. And it is the heart of everything that the government does. It's called macroeconomic policies. It has four issues. If you implement one, it causes the second. If you implement the second, it causes the third. If you implement the third, it causes the fourth. They are always in that order, you know. We have the first one is economic growth. The second one is unemployment. The third one is inflation, and the fourth one is the balance of payment. Now, when you look critically on these two things, a government that prioritizes economic growth would see a living condition of the people in its area prospering. It becomes good, because what happened in this model in this economic model is that you have to have a small government, a lean government, say that the government will have a surplus in terms of resources that they generate in the country. So, and then the government now use the resources that they have to invest them on things that have high economic return. For example, the best economic priority of any government is roads infrastructure. You have to connect the entire country so that the movement of goods and people is easily facilitated. And this has a very positive economic return, very quick one, you know. You remember when the road was constructed from here up to northern Barh, Ghazal, you would see people of Manyang well traveling from Juba to a well with their commodities only in 8 hours. In one day, they are already in a well town. So what happened now is the business guy hear that the commodities prices are rising in a well. They would run from here to deliver their commodities to northern Barh, Ghazal. And of course, once you have a road, it can also create certain things. Like, for example, when we have that good road, Goliar market was created, you know, because Goliar happened to be closer to a place that have high economic potential, the River Nile. So some guys were making fish there. So, and they come to the roadside and sell. So people were able to buy, and then a lot of this guy returned quickly and go and fish. The other colleague asked him, "What happened to your fish?" He said they were bought on the roadside. So he came also with his fish, and the number increased. So it happened. It created a market, you know. So that's why now we have Goliar. It's a product of fish sale, you know, created by a good road. So that's first economic priority. Second economic priority of any country is education. People have to know how things are done. You have to be educated. You have to have a comparative knowledge, how things are done in country A and how we should do them here in country B, so that we can improve our trade. If you produce a commodity A there efficiently, I can buy it for you because I'm unable to do it the way you do, and you buy from me what I can do better. You can't get this knowledge if you are not educated. You can't produce your report, you can't make your plan if your education system is weak. So you have to have a good education. You have to use now the good education. You have to write the reports, do the plan, and create investment in agriculture. You know, people have to invest in agriculture because in most of the developing countries that are like ours, once you invest on education and agriculture, you have high economic return for your country, you know. So that is this model. Once you do it like this, you know, it has its own weaknesses. Now, it means you will employ few people to serve a larger populations. So you will have a lean government that will have resources that it will invest on things that have high economic return. So it will result into unemployment in the country. So it takes us to economic model number 2. That is unemployment. So when you have a lean government, you begin to have people unemployed. And the expectation of the government when it is creating a good roads, when it is educating citizens, when it is investing in agriculture, when it is investing in health, is that people take up jobs in private sector, you know, and you get a job there, and the government now will fix the market for you. The little salary you get in the at the private sector, you know, they have a value. That's a function of a government. That's not a function of your employee in that particular area where you are employed. So there would be an expectation of the people. I would be working at the private sector, but let the government now create a conducive economic atmosphere for me to be able to assess the market with the conveniency, and also be able to get the resources or have my money have a good value in the market. So if the government is having a lean government, then it will result into unemployment. So what does an unemployment economy tell us? Unemployment economy is the worst model of the economy. If the citizens are telling the government employ us, then these citizens are not properly aware of their living conditions. What is important here is that you get a job, but the government loses investment in things that have high economic return like roads. They will close up because, you know, government is paying you salary and expect you now to find your ways of getting to the market. Government is using a lot of money to employ people and pay the salaries. Government will be using a lot of money for operation costs. You know, you have to build offices for these people. You have to provide them with the facilities of movement like vehicles. And that's why in the world, our government of South Sudan, I assume, must be having a lot of vehicles than any other government in the world in proportion to the populations. You see, so most of the money will go to operations, expenditure, and if the government is releasing a lot of money for expenditure, a lot of money will be running after few goods because there are no farmers that are encouraged at the villages to produce. And once most of the goods are, once the farmers are discouraged, they will not produce. They will not produce food for the population because the government is the roads are bad, and the tools for productions are very expensive, you know, to buy. So the farmers will be relaxed. They will not produce any food, and government will be forced to be importing people from either neighboring countries or faraway countries so that people could eat. And this is exactly what is happening in South Sudan. You know, we are an employment economy. We have a large parliament, we have a large executive that is extended up to the state and also extended up to the local government. So if you have a large government like this, don't ask the government about quality of education. Where will it get the money to improve? It's paying your salary. Don't expect the government to open up roads. Where will the government get the money? Don't expect the government to empower commerce in terms of getting them tools for and creating a conducive environment for them to produce. Don't expect security to improve because once there are small violations in one part of the area, it takes time for the security agencies to reach that area and restore law and order. You know, if you expect a security guy taking 3 hours to contain a violence in Mangala, you know, that would be an not efficient government, guys. You blame the security. Why? They were slow to go to Mangala, but you know the road condition, you don't know them, so they will be vulnerable to the security agency would be vulnerable to the security situation. Even at some point, salary might delay for them. At some point, the money for operation might delay. They might have no fuel because the government expenditure is overstretched, you know. So, unemployment economy is a bad kind of economy all over the world. And once you have it, it causes a lot of expenditure from the government into liabilities. You know, I'm surprised in South Sudan, one minister of finance pays salary on time, and then people say he's the best minister of finance. In the world, that's not how a minister is rated. The minister is rated about how the economy is performing, who are the actors in the economy, and the money the government is giving you. What is it? Is it a nominal wage or a real wage that has a value in the market? So our people get a salary on time of 10,000 South Sudanese pound that cannot be able to buy a bag of maize in the market and believe that a minister has done the right thing. That's wrong. I would say a minister is a good minister is the one that gives a salary that has a value in the market, a salary that can make you buy food item, buy medicine, take your kid to school. You know, that would be a good minister. You give me a salary, I pay part of the school fees, I pay food, commodities, and some other basic social amenities for my household. But now, even if all of us get our salary on the first of every month, they will have no value. So this large expenditure of the government would result into a lot of money running after few goods. And this causes inflation. That is, inflation is economic model number 3. This high economic inflation is the one that we are having here in South Sudan. People are saying, why is it that we have peace in South Sudan, but the living conditions are worsening? Where is our money going? The money is going to pay the civil service job. Money is going for accommodations of some peace partners and trying to facilitate their operation and so on. This is where the money goes. If you want the money where the living condition, then you tackle the inflations. Ask the government to reduce its expenditure and use that money to invest them on economic issues for the growth of our economy. So here, inflation, there are 4 types of inflation that can result in a country because of a lot of money running after few goods. It could be demand push inflation, where people are demanding some basic, where few money are running after a lot of money running after few goods, or it can be cost push inflation. The cost of productions are expensive in the country. You know, you have maybe either you are exporting them, importing them from a neighboring country. I'm trying to connect. My phone is running out of power.
Okay.
So it can either be a demand push inflation or cost push inflation as a result of high cost of production, or a mixture of this cost and demand. You know, sometimes in economic theories, there is a time where the equilibrium cannot be achieved because there are some money and also at the same time a supply. So it results into what is called spiral inflation. Or expectations. You know, expectation is the easiest one, you know, to explain in economics. Expectation is, for example, when a minister say our oil has been sold up to 2027, so that we will have no dollar. So you would just keep your and when you hear that from the minister, you will not exchange your $1,000 that you usually exchange in the black market. You would keep it in your pocket because you are saying there will be a scarcity of dollars in the market. So maybe you would exchange 100 today, and maybe next week you change the other 100. But when the situation was okay, you would just, because of regular movement to the black market, you just exchange 1,000 and you put it in the pocket. But once you expect things or a scarcity of dollar, you would retain most of the dollars in your pocket, and therefore it deny the circulation of the dollars in the economy. You know, so and it causes prices to shoot up. You know, most of the prices they either follow dollar or they follow the fuel prices, and that's why in the world, central bank is created to be the only agency in the country to fight inflation. You know, the kind of policies that the central bank is making is called monetary policy, either to maintain the stability of foreign currencies in your country, so that it doesn't affect the purchasing power of the people. Because the high inflation in any country always affect the purchasing power. You can go with some money, buy a few commodities, the money gets finished. You even wonder, why did the money finish? Was the change not correct, or maybe I miscounted my money? That is the inflation fighting you, my friend. No one has stolen your money, or you might have not miscounted. It is the inflation. Commodities are expensive. You buy a few things with a lot of money. So, and if this kind of inconvenience are happening and are not tackled, and then it will affect the balance of payments. That is economic model number 4. What is balance of payment? I think this is the difference between the exports the country has and the import. So that's the difference between the export and import. Why is it good? You know, when you produce a lot of good things and you export them, it empowers the farmers, those who produce goods. You know, they become rich because what they are selling is first of all being bought and with a profit. So it encourages them to produce more. And if you produce more and you export more, the people will be rich. You know, it is like when you are cultivating groundnuts and you sell them and they are all bought, it will encourage you to produce more groundnut in the coming season. And if it continues like that, then you would be shifting away from a subsistence farming to an extensive farming, you know. And instead of producing for food to eat, you would be producing a food that would be eaten by all, you know. That would be sold in the market and eaten by, so you would be producer of more food. Now Uganda is exploiting us because we don't export to them. So we import food from them. People who had been to Uganda, they are saying Kampala is growing faster than South Sudan, and they are wondering why. It is because they are taking our money. We import from them. We go and buy food from them. Everything we have in Juba, over 90% of the thing we have in Juba, they are imported. And when you are importing, you are making yourself poorer. You are making your farmers poorer. People who are producing, they will become more poorer and poorer. But if you encourage them to produce and you buy food from them, or you allow them to export them to other neighboring countries or countries that are in need, then you are empowering them economically. They would not even, some of the farmers would not even seek government jobs. You would be comfortable in your village. You just want to be in your village, produce more food, because the salary that you would be getting in the office is less than the income you get from your farming. So the government will even be having no pressure of people who are looking for a job from the government service. So, and if the balance of payment is affected, then the living condition of the people are affected. For example, if exports are less than the import, the balance of payment will be negative, and this is bad for the country. A negative value is like a money being demanded from you to pay. You see? So, and this is the kind of thing we have. We are importing more than what we export in South Sudan in real time. You know, when you go to our statistical agency, you would see at some point our exports are higher than the import because of what? Oil. So it can give a positive hope that, a false hope that our economy is doing well. So if you use an oil as a measure of economic development in your country, then you are a poor people. You don't know what you are doing. Oil is a commodity that can get finished. But if you train people how to farm, how to do business, and how to produce, how to generate income, then you are building a nation that is self-sufficient in terms of it. So in terms of its food productions and all the other things that improve the living condition of your people. So these are the four models that we have in the economy. As I was talking, now you know which model that we are in. We are in the second model, employment economy. We employ a lot of people, 5 vice presidents in one country with their operation cost. Large parliament, where people are appointed, not elected, and then large executive, and you need to buy them cars. A government minister should not walk on the street or use border. So the money goes there. And our people here in South Sudan, or those who are outside, they would say, our president is not working. Where will he get money, my friend? He's working. He's working, but you don't see what is affecting him. I'm one of the people who supported our president all the time. The reason is simple. He's doing the right thing and does not have the right people around him to help him get out of this large economy. And the more we hold our government into this large employment kind of economy, the more our country collapses. We'll have no government. We'll be having warlords. And if we get to the elections, a person becomes the president, and our constitution says you have one vice president, and then you will have, how do you call it, a surplus or a surplus of money that were supposed to go to the other 4 vice presidents in an economy kind of model, And this money that goes to these 4 vice presidents can be capable of building either a good government building schools, or it can empower some farmers in Ring, and or some people in Western Equatoria to produce food in Ring, and those in Western Equatoria to invest on their mangoes that were cultivated there. So they will use this money, set up a factory for juice. So instead of buying juice now from Uganda or Sudan, you just buy you just go and buy it from Western Equatoria because roads are good there. So this is how we can get out of this mess, So I'm an advocate of a lean government, a government that use whatever the surplus they have to invest them on things that have high economic return. By doing so, we would not need anything from the government except sustainability of our good roads, except sustainability of our government hospital, except sustainability of our public universities, except sustainability of our clean water. And and if these things are done, we would create a forum with our government and ask them, where are these things that we expect from you? Given that we are not asking from you unemployment, we are not asking from you the salary. So whatever we are not asking from you, we expect you to invest them on things that should cause convenience for us to go to our farm, that can cause convenience for our children to go to schools and study, that can cause convenience for our nurses to work, longer hours in hospital and with the happiness and confidence. So basically, this is how I look at things, and this is how we can get out of this mess. But if we don't get away with this large government, then let us not expect our president to improve our roads. Let us not expect him to provide us a good security, because the little money he has, if there is no violence, and then these people are eating it as a food. You know, soldiers are the only kind of people that are required every morning. They must go to their place of work. So expect them to go. You expect them to go and do the parade, this large army. And then move without shoes that have not provided. No, it is not. So the priority for the government now is to pay its own servants that is employing the security. They have to get their clothes. They have to get their shoes. They have to dress like the army. And so you have to provide them with the vehicles. So if someone is fighting you, you use them to protect you. Until such a time, people who are fighting you have no power to fight you. And therefore, you call the people and you ask them, let us renew the mandates that we have, the social contract that exists between me and you, because my term is finishing. So this is how I look at things. But now, the other aspect I have not talked about happening in our economy is that our economy is taken over from us. You know, it is the foreigners that are running our economy. And if the foreigners are running the economy, what happened? They build their countries. They don't build your country. The profit that they get from South Sudan, they take it back home so that they build schools, they build shops, they build a hospital, private, and all private things with the profit they get from South Sudan. And they retain the running costs to run their business here in South Sudan. And then what does the foreign business person do with the running costs? He just only pays the few nationals that are working with him or her, you know, very few. And these few nationals, they are not becoming rich because what they are getting does not have a value in the market. So the money, the money will just go straight to liabilities. It goes to a market that does not appreciate the money you have. So, and your living condition wasn't. My friend, here in South Sudan, when you get your salary, it finishes the same day. And in other countries, it doesn't work that way. So will you build a school, private school? Will you build a private hospital? Will you make your own private things, business well? You will not manage. And that's why here in Juba, there are a group who created walls where they sit and they say, and they take copy there and they say Pransau wall. Many of them are here in Juba, you know, they just go and take Pransau there. So because you don't have money to invest on your own private business. So this is what is happening in our economy. Another thing is, when you come here to Juba, you will see that Juba is taken up by hotels owned by foreigners. I can ask you to agree with me, there are more hotel rooms in Tongping than room for residents in the neighborhood. You know, a lot of hotels there, and who are the beneficiaries of these hotels? Foreigners. What do they do with their profit? They take it back to their house. Do they develop Tongping? No, they don't. You do the same to Haisora. There are a lot of hotel rooms than household rooms. And the difference between these rooms, the hotel rooms are able to generate income for the foreigners while our rooms are not being rented. They don't generate any income. So you would find if you are lucky and your house is rented, it would be cheaply rented, because most of the people, the lifestyle that some people have adopted is that instead of renting a house, you prefer to stay in a hotel, partly because you would like to avoid the crowd in your house, because once you have a house here in Juba, expect 30 people or 25 or 20 to be with you. So some people, they run away from this kind of expenditure and go to the hotel, and you live in the hotel. So some of them would prefer to pay $100 per night in a hotel, say that by the end of the month you pay $3,000 to the hotel, and it has a convenience for you. Then when you have a house and your expenditure should have up to $5,000 or $10,000. You know, so the hotel generated income for foreigners and our residents that we build with the high cost of construction are not generating income for us. And remember, if these houses that we have at Haisora and houses we have in Tongping are capable of generating income for the owners of these places, then they can invest them in their private clinic. They can send their children to school. They can improve their health conditions, and the living condition of the people of South Sudan would become better. So this is what is happening in our economy. Foreigners owning it, and South Sudanese, they don't know what to do. Some of the foreigners that are running our business, some of our youth who are patriotic, they are unable to fight them because they were the ones who were standing with us during the liberation war. So some are reluctant to fight them. Others would want to give them a grace period. Maybe after a certain period of time, you tell them, my friend, enough is enough. Get out of my country, like what Idi Amin has done, and we take charge of our economy and manage it. You see? Yeah, and the same thing is applied to waters. The water that is, water that is supplied to our household here is given to us by an Eritrean guy who left his country without any money, come here. The only thing he has is his bag. Come to South Sudan, look for an Eritrean who is having a hotel here. Look for a local South Sudanese, ask him to give him a tanker to drive in Juba, you know, and some of people, the kind of deals, the cheap deals that they have, you know, one tanker a day, a owner get 10,000 South Sudanese pound. And do you know how much money the Eritrean get a day? Here in my house, when a tanker come and pour water, it is 10,000 South Sudanese pound. They have increased it by 500 last week. So when you have one trip to Gudele, then you have paid the owner of the tanker. And with good speed, you run 4 times, 5 times a day, then you get a profit of 40,000. If you have run 5 times, 10,000 for the owner, and you for 40,000 a day. You multiply that by 30 days, boom, you become rich, set up your own business in Juba, and avoid driving. And you see here in Juba, most of the people that cause accident are the water tank drivers. And mostly some of these guys are foreigners. Do you know why they are causing accident? It's because they are rushing, you know, they want to drop water. And here where I live, we don't have a borehole, you know. There's no borehole around here. If a water tanker doesn't come, it means I will not take shower today or have water for domestic consumption. So these kind of economic issues are all blame on our president, unfortunately. And And if we are conscious citizens, you would see that you are blaming a wrong person in persons of our president. The blame should be myself, who is not economically active. The blame should be some of our ministers that are not looking into migration issues, ministers that are not sticking into economic plans of our country, ministers who are not monitoring the consumer price index in our market. Because even in United States of America, that is assumed by a lot of people as a capitalist, it has a policy of stabilizing the market. And there are two theories in economics. You either set price ceiling or price floor. There are basic commodities. You make a partnership with some people in the business community to supply basic food commodities, and you tell them, sell it at this price and I will give you access to hard currency. You see? So these are basically what I can say. But there are a lot to say, There are a lot
Thank you.
of things to say about the state
Thank
of
you so
our
much.
economy.
Thank you so much, Brother Sunday, for that well articulated, and you have touched almost every aspect of our economy and what drive the economy and where we are and what should we do. And I
Exactly.
like how you appeal to the citizen. You see, at some point, the work should not be left alone for the citizen, for the president, I mean. The country is for all of us, and every citizen must have that role and responsibility to play, not only leaders who are holding public offices. And for South Sudan, it will take us a very quite long time for us to recover through this hyperinflation. Imagine a country with the 2 billion GDP is having that huge bureaucratic government of 500 MPs, 500 something MPs at the lower house, and then 100 plus at the upper house. Combined, you will get around 600 something MPs and the huge executive body and numerous commissions which were formed. And all these things came in as a result of pleasing each other so that we resolve our political greed so that everyone can have his or her portion, at least to sit and assume that he is a leader, and to maintain them is hard, as you mentioned. And I don't know how we will go on as the country, considering also we are in a free economy whereby any businessman can give prices of his or her own choice. So nobody control the market, and that is one of the big challenges. Unless our government decide to form a committee of experts, economists, I believe we have a lot of economists, South Sudanese. If government can make use of this mind, believe me, they can develop something, they can adjust it. And government also need to reduce the expenditures, as you have mentioned before. This is another way of fighting inflation. So we have a lot in the country to do, and citizens also should not relax. I like the appeal you made to them, and it is our responsibility, by the way, to help wherever we can in order to let our country move forward. At this juncture, I will yield it back to my co-host. I think he dropped, but he will come back, Bolmakur or Agarmbok. If you are there, you can come and pose your last question before we end the show. While we are waiting for them, what are some of the modalities that you may recommend, Mr. Sunday, that the government should use to rescue this sinking nation? Remember, our finance sources, government heavily based on oil sector. but non-oil revenue were neglected for too long until it was established as South Sudan National Revenue Authority in 2017-2018. And still, there are a lot of loopholes. And if government strengthens that institution, it can deal with the payments of civil servants. And government can use oil revenue for developmental projects like roads, hospitals, and even water. So what are those? What are some of the 2 or 3 criterions that you may suggest that if government put them in place, then they can be in a position to reduce the hyperinflation? They can be in a position also to allow the circulation of currency within the market. They can be in a position also to stabilize the hard currency, because we have 2 factors which are determining our inflation now, or drivers. That is the oil and the hard currency. So if if the country is having a scarcity of oil, then every price will shoot up. Even anything, including water, it will shoot up the price of water simply because the fuel is up. And if the dollar rate against pound is high, then everything will shoot up. Even the local products made within the country, they will also shoot up simply because the dollar is up, or the hard currency is up. So basically, these are the 2 factors that are driving the economy and the inflation of South Sudan. Thank you.
I think the short message that I can give to our government is to stick to its plans. You know, we have the values as a country. One of our values is that we believe in liberty, we believe in justice, we believe in prosperity of our people. So what does this tell us as a country? If we do one and we leave the other, it will affect the other 2. But if we allow all of them as the principle of our belief and we stick to all of them, I think we can get out of this mess within a very short period of time. What does the word liberty mean? It means you are free to criticize me as a government official, as a citizen. You are free as a citizen to criticize me as a minister, as your minister, for maybe on things that I'm not doing well. And you have a freedom to tell me what you have done is not good for my community. And I don't have the power as a minister to unfairly manhandle you. But here, in most of the instances here, our citizens are quiet, not because they have chosen or they like to be quiet, but because the issues of freedoms are not there. There's no liberty. And if you don't encourage people to dialogue among themselves, to point out this was done well, this was not done well, and then you will not achieve prosperity in your country. The ministers will relax, they will not do well. They will just relax, and the prosperity of the people would not be achieved. In most of the situations, sometimes justice is not offered. And if there is no justice, there will be no liberty. You know, if we criticize each other, like the way we are criticizing the office of the president, you know, I can be held responsible for any bad statement that I have made in a fair and just manner. And you know, if there is anything that I have committed and the law tell me this is wrong, then tomorrow I will not do it, and another brother will not do it as well. So it will, if we use justice to be offered to all people in all conditions, irrespective of which state you came from, then definitely most of these things could be achieved. We offer the justice, and on the prosperity of our people, we stick to the plan. You know, we have the plan. We have South Sudan development plan that was done before. Now that South Sudan development plan has been abandoned. We have a revitalized peace agreement. that was signed with the different parties. You know, it has economic reform that can improve the welfare of our people. So if we stick into those provisions of the article of this revitalized agreement, we can find ways of reforming our economy and therefore improve the prosperity of our people. It won't take long. It won't take long at all. Because we have more resources than the people themselves, in South Sudan. But if they are used well, then all of us will benefit. But it happens in some situations, there are people who have they have own houses, they have vehicles, very nice one, they have married very beautiful wives, and they have some money in their accounts, but yet again they would want to steal, So if this kind of people are prevented from stealing, such that what they are taking is given to other people to improve their economic conditions, then prosperity would easily come to the country. So basically, this is what I'm seeing. Let us implement our plan in letter and spirit, and we identified things that have high economic return for today, for tomorrow. We must have a short-term plan and a long-term plan. And remember, when you have a short-term plan, you must suffer today, and then later on, for the long term, when you have the long-term plan, remember you will have to suffer today. And and there are basic things that does not need to wait for tomorrow. So we use a very nice plan for a short period of time on how to improve the prosperity of the people. So let us stick to our ideal. We believe in our emblem. We have what we call liberty, which is freedom. We have justice, and we have the prosperity. So let everyone be shown what he or she is supposed to do, and we assign people based on their capabilities. This is what I can say. And once we have the right teamwork and a good organizations, we will have a lot of deliverables. Whatever is challenging us, we shall overcome, even if we allow these foreigners to be with us in our economy. And thank you.
Thank you so much, Brother Sunday Manyang, for your answering the few questions. Our conversation is very interesting, and if it were not because of time, we would have go on and on to explore more in regard to the topic of economy, because economy is too wide and it needs people to discuss a lot of things in details. But thank you for your time. I really appreciate that, and we, the entire team of Lagos State Media, we appreciate your time. Despite the challenges of network in Juba, you really manage to make sure you stay with us. So I will yield it back to my brother, Agarmabok, to add his last word, and then we will close the show. And remember, we will call you for a second time. And in case if we have topic, we will be in a position to inform you in advance so that you can also equip yourself, and then we will engage in more discussions. Because a society that always talk is a society that always find a solution to their problems. Thank you so much, and may God be with you. Agar?
Thank you very much, Majok Marco. I am very happy for this kind of conversation that we had. Sometimes I'm emotional. Maybe there are things that I have not explained well. That is part of my weaknesses. And if I have not done it, next time you tell me to improve on some. So I look forward into meeting with you again in our next conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. You have done absolutely right. So there is nothing that need to be improved unless the experts, the economists, the like of Dr. Mriala Wo, the like of Dr. Luala Chuk, might be the one to adjust our conversation. But you have really touched almost every corner of the economy, what drives the economy, and where should we stop, and where we are, and where we are heading. And you also provide some of the solutions and suggestions. So you are merely You are not merely complaining, but you were telling us this is where we are, this is where we came from, but this is where we should go. And that's what makes conversation meaningful, and that's where the measurement of the conversation always being weighed upon. So Banyagar, thank you so much.
Thank
Banyagar
you too.
can come in. Yeah.
Thank you, Brother Majuk, and the host of this night, this morning, this afternoon. Thank you so much, and I will thank our viewers because they watch Legacy Media whenever they are, whether morning or night, evening, afternoon. We thank you all, and we thank our brother Sunday Manyang for all his commitment and the highlight that he gave to us today, tonight, this morning, this afternoon. We thank you so much, and all the thanks goes to all the viewers that who are watching through Legacy Media. We thank them all. And then when I come back to the conclusion, I cannot assume myself and say that I will conclude this because we have a hierarchy, as everybody knows. So I will hand it over to Mr. President Isaac Tiangfol, although he wasn't here with us, but I will request him to close the show down. And we are really very happy for all South Sudanese. What we are struggling to be achieving is that we need to have something that called unity within the whole country, which is South Sudan. We need to achieve a unity among all of us, which is 64 tribes or beyond 64 tribes. We need to achieve this thing to establish something that called a nation. I cannot dispute that we are not in a nation right now. We are in a nation, but we are in a crisis too. And if we are in a crisis, we need to come together and sit down, discuss all the issues from left corner, right corner, backward, frontward. We need to discuss all these issues and come together as South Sudanese. So I hope everybody who is watching and who is listening in the radio or whatever you are listening. So this is what we are requesting for all our nation, which is called South Sudan. So I will not go further. I will hand this show to our brother Isaac Tiangfol for closing down. He will not even come to talk. He will just close the show, but he will not come and say the last remark. The last remark, Bajuk have done that, and mine, I have done it, and Isaac Tiangfol will come and close the show down, and you don't even need to hear his voice or any kind of remark that you are waiting for to be included in. So Majuk and I, we did our best, and Bol Makur, deputy to the president, which is Isaac Tiangfol, for Legacy Media team. We are doing our best to the whole nation, not just only for Legacy. And for those
Thank you. Thank you, Banyagar. Ben Sunday Manyang Agok, the former executive director in the office of Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister of Presidential Affairs. Yeah, thank you for your time. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for your knowledge. And we urge you on behalf of Lagos State Media, continue in that path, seeking for more knowledge. It is very important for the young nation such as South Sudan to grow. We need people of your kind. And we also need to appreciate the level of your honesty that you have demonstrated and you have shown by acknowledging that we have some challenges in the system, but those challenges can be resolved and they are very easy to be fixed so long we have a willing heart and committed citizens. Thank you so much. To our viewers, we appreciate you wholeheartedly. Keep listening, and it is our role and responsibility as a media platform such as this to provide information to you and bring guests so that they can talk to you and give you information. Through that, and a citizen that is equipped with the information is a citizen that always know where he is heading to. Thank you so much. May God bless all of you wherever you are. May God bless South Sudan, and may God bless our continent, Africa. Thank you.
It's your boy Young I give him that time. Pancho leg stand and punchy America. Panye Banaban Pancho leg stand and punchy America. Panye Banaban walk on your leg. Kankaro what on a watching. Oga level leg gear. Wow, very leg. Panda with ya punchy America. Panye Dwalabano. Chingatongo Pandon could you ever buy a check? Patu Panda Giro with ya be Dwalaventing. Stand and punchy America, Panye Banaban Pancha leg stand and punchy America, Panye Banaban walk on your leg, Kankaro what on a watching, Oga level leg gear, wow, very leg, Panda with ya punchy America, Panye Dwalabano, Chingatongo Pandon could you ever buy a check out, Patu Panda Giro, what ya be Dwalaventing.